Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Linda. Come sit with me a minute. I want to give you the truth this morning about retiring and living alone. Not the sad version, not the cheerful fake version, just the real one. Because there's an awful lot of folks out there doing exactly this, living on their own, retired, just them in the house, and most of what gets said about it is either pity or pretending. And neither one is true. I've been at this a while now. I'm divorced. Bob and I split back in 2014. And before anybody worries, Bob's fine, we're fine, we just stopped being married. So I've had some years to learn what's actually true about doing this solo. And I want to lay it out for you plain. Some of it's hard. Some of it surprised me in a good way. All of it's honest. So let me give you the truths one at a time. There's 5 of them. The money's harder on one income. You become your own everything. Nobody keeps you on track but you. You've got to build your own safety net. And then the one that surprised me, the one nobody expects, which I'll save for last because it's the one I most want you to hear. So pour yourself another cup and stick with me to the end. The first truth, and it's the one nobody wants to say out loud, is that the money is just harder when you're one person. Here's what I mean. Everything in this world is priced for 2. The rent, the mortgage, the electric bill, the property taxes, the cable, a couple splits all of that between 2 Social Security checks. I cover the whole thing with one. My one. I bring in about $2,750 a month. That's it. And the house doesn't cost me half of what it'd cost a couple. It costs me the same as it'd cost them, except there's only me to pay it. They call it a singles penalty, and it's real. 2 people living together aren't twice as expensive as one. They're maybe 1.5 times. So living alone, you're paying for efficiency you don't get. Nobody tells you that part when you picture retiring. You picture the freedom. You don't picture that every fixed cost in your life lands on one set of shoulders. So the first truth is, you've got to be sharper with money living alone than a couple ever has to be. Not because you're worse off necessarily, because there's no one to split with and no one to catch you, and there's no second income to lean on if something goes sideways. A couple, if one of them has a bad month or a big bill, the other one can absorb some of it. Living alone, if the furnace goes out in February, that's just my problem and my checkbook, full stop. So I keep a cushion. I had to learn that the hard way. There's no spouse to be the backup plan, so the savings account has to be the backup plan, and you have to be a little more careful feeding it than a couple does. That's not gloom, that's just the math of one. My sister Donna, she's still back in Akron, still married to Ray, she doesn't quite get this part. She'll say, "Just treat yourself, Linda, you've earned it." And I have earned it, and I do treat myself. But Donna's got 2 checks landing in that house and a husband to split the roof with. She's playing a different game than I am, and she doesn't always see it. I love her, but our math is not the same math. The second truth is that you become your own everything. In a marriage, even a so-so one, there's a division of labor. One person does the bills, one does the cooking. One remembers the birthdays, one remembers to change the furnace filter. You don't even notice you're splitting the load until you're carrying all of it yourself. Live alone, and you're the handyman and the cook and the bookkeeper and the nurse and the one who takes out the trash on a cold morning. There's no, "Honey, can you get that?" There's just you. The jar that won't open, you. The spider in the bathroom, you. The funny noise the car's making, you. Everything that needs doing, every single thing, has got exactly one person assigned to it, and you're looking at her in the mirror. Now I've gotten good at it, I'll be honest. I'm handier than I ever was when Bob was around to do it. I've learned to reset a breaker, snake a drain, jump my own car battery. There's a competence that grows on you when you don't have a choice. And I won't lie, there's a quiet pride in it too. Every time I figure out something I used to hand off to somebody else, I feel a little taller. But it's a truth nobody warns you about. The sheer number of things a person has to do in a day, and how it all lands on one set of hands. And the part that wears on you isn't the hard jobs. It's that there's no end to the little ones and no relief, ever. A couple gets to trade off. They get to say, "Not it," once in a while. Living alone, you're always it. You're it for everything, every day. And some days that's the thing that tires you out more than any single chore. It's the never getting to hand anything to anybody. The trick I've found is you don't have to do it all alone, even living alone. You build yourself a little list, a handyman you trust, a neighbor's grandson who'll move something heavy for 20 bucks, the gal at the hardware store who'll walk you through a repair. Asking for help isn't failing at living alone. It's how you actually do it well. The third truth is that nobody's keeping you on track but you. This one's sneaky. When you live with somebody, they're a witness to your life. They notice if you don't get dressed for 3 days. They notice if you're eating cereal at every meal. There's a little bit of, I don't know, social pressure just from another person being there that keeps you up to standard. Live alone and that witness is gone. Nobody sees if you skip the shower or stay in the robe till noon or let the dishes pile up. And on a hard day, that freedom turns into a trap because there's nothing and nobody pulling you back up to standard except your own self. So the truth is, living alone takes a kind of discipline that married folks just don't need as much. You have to be your own witness. You have to keep your own standards when there's nobody watching. Some days that's easy. Some days you've got to talk yourself into a shower like it's a chore. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I suspect it's a lot of us. What's helped me is having things on the calendar that make me show up as a person. The Tuesday coffee group at the library, church on Sunday. Even this, talking to you all, I get dressed and fix my hair to sit down and make these, and that's on purpose. When you've got somewhere to be and someone expecting you, you keep your standards without even thinking about it. The danger is the empty week. The one with nothing in it, because that's the week a person can quietly let herself slide. So I don't let my weeks get empty. That's a rule now. The fourth truth is one I want you to take seriously because it's about safety. When you live alone, you have to build your own safety net, on purpose, because there isn't one built in. Here's the plain fact. If a couple has a fall in the night, there's somebody there. If one of them has a stroke at the breakfast table, there's somebody to call for help. Living alone, there's nobody. And that's not me trying to scare you, it's just true. And pretending it isn't true is how people get into trouble. So you build the net yourself. Me and my neighbor Carol have an arrangement. If my kitchen light isn't on by a certain time in the morning, she checks on me, and I do the same for her. I keep my phone on me, in my pocket, all the time, even just puttering around the house. I had grab bars put in the bathroom, which I fought against for a year because it felt like giving in to being old. And then I got over myself because a broken hip alone in a house is a far worse thing than a bar on the wall. Shelley, my daughter down in Tampa, she calls every evening, and we both know it's partly just so somebody hears my voice once a day and knows I'm all right. That's not me being fragile, that's me being smart. The truth is, living alone, you've got to engineer the safety that other folks just have sitting next to them on the couch. And once you've got it set up, a funny thing happens. You stop worrying about it. The fear that used to sit in the back of my mind, the what if something happens and nobody knows, it quieted right down once I'd actually built the net. The worst part was never the danger. It was carrying the worry. And the worry goes away once you've done something about it. Now I've given you 4 hard truths, so let me give you the one that surprised me. Because it's true, too, and it's the one nobody expects. Living alone in retirement can be genuinely, deeply good. And not in a making the best of it way, in a real way. Here's the truth they don't print. Your life is entirely your own, every single bit of it. I don't answer to anybody. I don't keep anybody else's schedule, cook around anybody else's tastes, fight over the thermostat, or apologize for how I spend a Tuesday. If I want to read till 2 in the morning, I read till 2 in the morning. If I want cereal for dinner, that's dinner, and there's nobody to raise an eyebrow. It sounds like a little thing, the thermostat and the cereal and the late night reading. It isn't a little thing. It adds up to a kind of peace I didn't know I'd been missing for 30 years. The whole house breathes at my pace now, nobody else's wants pressing on the day. After a lifetime of bending, that's not loneliness. That's room to finally stretch out. I spent a lot of my life shaped around other people. somebody's wife, somebody's mother, somebody's employee. From the time I was a girl, there was always somebody whose needs came before mine, and I never even questioned it. That's just how it was. Living alone now, in my own house, on my own terms, is the first time I've ever really belonged fully to myself. The whole place is arranged the way I like it. The day goes the way I want it to. Nobody's moods to manage but my own, and I won't trade that. There are married folks I know who'd quietly give a lot for a little of what I've got. I don't say that to brag, and I don't say it to knock marriage. A good one's a beautiful thing. I say it because the pity people throw at us folks living alone has it half wrong. They see the empty chair and they feel sorry. They don't see the freedom, because freedom doesn't show up in a photograph. But I feel it every single morning. And here's another truth inside that one. When you live alone, you never have to settle. A lot of people stay in something gone cold because they're scared of being alone. Well, I've been alone, and I can tell you it's a whole lot better than being lonely next to somebody who stops seeing you. Being on your own raises your standards. You don't put up with what you'd put up with if you were afraid of the quiet. I think about Bob and me at the end there, two people being polite roommates, both a little lonely in the same house. And I'll tell you, that's a lonelier thing than I have ever once felt living by myself. People assume the empty house is the lonely part. It isn't. The lonely part is being unseen by somebody who's right there. I'd take an honest, quiet house over that any day of the week, and I have, and I don't regret it. So here's what I keep coming back to. The truth about retiring and living alone is that it's both. It's harder in the ways nobody admits. The money, the doing it all, the keeping yourself on track, the building your own safety. And it's better in the ways nobody expects. The freedom, the belonging to yourself, the not settling. Anybody who tells you it's all one or all the other is selling you something. The pity people is selling you one thing, and the everything is wonderful crowd is selling you another. And the real truth is sitting right in the middle where it usually does. It's not a tragedy and it's not a vacation. It's a real life with its own rules. And once you learn the rules, you can build something on your own that's sturdy and warm and entirely yours. I did. It took some doing. But I'm not just surviving over here. Most days, I'm doing just fine, thank you, and I mean that. And I want to be careful here because I'm not saying everybody ought to be alone, or that being on your own is somehow better than a good marriage. A good marriage is a gift, and if you've got one, you hold on to it. What I'm saying is that if life has handed you the solo version, by divorce, by losing somebody, by however you got here, it is not a sentence. It's just a different shape of a good life, and it's one you can absolutely build. I'm proof. I built it out of a divorce I didn't see coming, and here I am, content as can be, talking to you with my coffee. The folks who struggle with it, in my experience, are the ones who try to live alone like they're still half of a couple, waiting for someone to handle things, waiting to be invited, waiting for the life to come to them. It doesn't. You've got to run your own life like it's yours now, because it is. And once that clicks, a lot of the hard parts get a whole lot more manageable. It's a shift in your own head more than anything. For a good while after Bob, I was still living like a person waiting for the other half to come back and pick up their share. Once I stopped waiting and just took the whole thing on as mine, my house, my schedule, my life to build, everything got easier. Not easy, easier. Because I stopped fighting the fact of it and started working with it. That's the turn. The people who make that turn do well on their own. The ones who keep waiting for someone to come fill the empty chair, they're the ones who stay stuck. So let me ask you something this morning and be honest with me. If you're living alone in retirement, what's the truth about it that surprised you the most? The hard one nobody warned you about, or the good one nobody mentioned? Put it down in the comments. There are people reading who are scared to death of ending up on their own, and hearing the real truth from folks who are actually living it, that's worth more than all the pity and pretending in the world. I read every one. And if this was straight with you, if it helped, give it a like. It gets these to other folks sitting alone in a quiet house this morning, wondering if it's just them. It isn't. There's a whole lot of us. And if you've got somebody in your life who lives alone, don't just send them this, give them a call. Be a light in their kitchen window today. If you want to keep coming to the table with me, you can subscribe and I'll be here. We'll keep each other honest. All right, that's enough from me today. Go on and have a good one. And be good to yourselves.